And joining us now to discuss his legacy is NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. Michael, it's good to have you on, although obviously, listen, it's a sad day, but Jimmy Carter was 100 years old. And to me, that's the most amazing thing, is that even when Jimmy Carter left office, he was only 56 years old, which seems quaint today. How do we most remember Jimmy Carter?
Well, I think some people, just as Lester was saying, and many of our viewers will remember him, those who remember him going through that period. I remember I was getting my MBA at Harvard Business School at the time in my early 20s, in the late 70s, and inflation was terrible. It was going up to 14%, and Carter's policies to some extent had a role in that. At the same time, however, one thing is not looked at as much as it should be, and that is he chose for the Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker in 1979 with an explicit mandate to do everything he could to try to tamp down on inflation, which Volcker did. And Carter paid two big costs for that. One was inflation in 1980 was 14%, and interest rates were extremely high. People were really suffering. Democrats like Ted Kennedy were furious at Carter and ran against him and denounced him in public, saying, this is not a Democratic president if he appoints someone like Paul Volcker. But at the same time, Volcker's policies worked, although it made Carter so unpopular that it made it very hard for him to get reelected against Ronald Reagan.
And a lot of people that we talk to on the financial side will say, well, it's not fair to blame Jimmy Carter for the inflation that he inherited. A lot of the things that were already inflationary. It sounds very similar to Joe Biden, by the way, when he took office. But as a presidential historian, I think you would also have to agree, right or wrong, presidents and elected officials sometimes have to deal the hand that's been dealt them. And in many ways, Carter was not dealt a great inflationary hand.
He was not. And it even goes back to Richard Nixon years before wage and price controls. How do you feel about those, Brian? Richard Nixon did that in 1971 to try to bring down inflation and improve the economic picture so that he could get reelected in 1972, which he did. That was not the direct cause of inflation in 79. There was an oil embargo, oil prices were going up, all sorts of things. But all I'm saying is that Carter should at least be honored for choosing Volcker and asking him to crush inflation. And Ronald Reagan, to a great extent, was the beneficiary of those policies. It came down to 3%.
Yeah, and now obviously we've got a nation in mourning. I know he's going to Lion State in Atlanta, and then he's going to come to D.C. And I believe, Michael, and we're kind of waiting on full clarification, that America largely will shut down on the funeral of a president, correct? In fact, it's unlikely. I know the bond market may be open a half day, but it's unlikely that we will see any financial activity on January 9th.
There will be a day of mourning, and I don't know if you're connecting those two things, Brian, the lack of financial activity and the shortcomings in Jimmy Carter's presidency. I think probably a little bit coincidental there. But yes, you're absolutely right that is going to be a day that people, especially, people who are in business and finance, like so many of our friends who are watching and listening, should, remember that Carter was someone who made mistakes. But at the same time, can I throw one other thing out?
Of course.
And that is that, people think of him as, someone who did not know how to run a business. Carter is someone who took his family peanut business and became a millionaire by the time he became president. That was not done by lack of business acumen. He came from a small town, ran a small business, just the kind of person that we oftentimes think would make a good president. He was a complex man, did some good things, had some shortcomings as well.
And carried every state in 1976 as a Democrat across the South, which I think alone is a pretty notable accomplishment. Michael Beschloss.
Isn't that amazing? Plus Texas.
It is, particularly today, it is incredibly amazing. Michael, real pleasure to get your views. I know you got a busy day. Thank you so much.
Love to be together. Thank you, Brian.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.